All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to start a realistic drawing of an ice cream cone. So the very first thing you want to do, and you want to do this very lightly, you're going to see me draw darker than you need to draw, just because I need you to be able to see it on the video screen. All right, so about the top of your page, you need to draw a circle for the ice cream cone. And towards the bottom of your page, a triangle for the cone of the ice cream cone. Make sure, I do not want to see a tiny drawing in the center. Pay attention, because if I see you with more than 4 fingers above or below your drawing, it's not big enough, and you're not listening, and you're not following directions. Make sure your circle for this ice cream cone is towards the top. It can be 3 fingers. You can mark that if you'd like. You're going to draw your circle. I'm going to draw mine darker than I would normally, because I need you to be able to see it on the video screen. Now, as you can see, I drew around in a circle a few times, and I still kind of have a lumpy ice cream shape. So I'm going to straighten that out as best I can, using my eraser to erase out the lines I don't want, and redrawing in lines that I like better, that look rounder. Now remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so at this point you need to check and make sure, number 1, that you didn't draw an itty bitty tiny circle. If you put your fingers in the diamond, it should just about fill the diamond. It should be no more than, if it's 4 fingers, if it's below 4 fingers, automatic point off. That is something very simple that you should not, if you are following directions, if you're listening, there's no reason that I should come around and have more than 4 feet and be able to do this, and your ice cream is tiny and below it. All right, so again, you do not want 4 fingers. You can mark off 3 fingers if you want to. We are going to do the cone for the ice cream cone. I like to mark the point down here first, because then I can easily, you're coming off this almost like the sides of it as if it were a hot air balloon. So you're coming down here on the side, and you're going down to this point. If you feel like you need a ruler, I am fine with that, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So you're coming off the side of this side, you're coming off the side on the right side of the ice cream cone, and you're going down to this point. And I missed, and that happens. So I'm just going to erase. All right, so it almost looks like a spotlight, like the rays coming out for a searchlight or a spotlight. So right now is a very good time to check your work and make sure that before we start adding details, that your ice cream is the right size, that you've got an ice cream ball that fits when you do a diamond, your hands in a diamond, it pretty much fits in there. Making sure that there's no more, if it's 4 fingers, you made it too low. If it's more than 4 fingers, this is going under the 4 fingers, so you're good. If it's above the 4 fingers where you can see it, then you made it too short. So this is a really good time to do some erasing and correcting if you did not get the right size for this ice cream cone or the right positioning of it. So you are basically filling your page. You just have a little area on the bottom and the top. All right, so the next thing that we are going to do with this ice cream cone, we're gonna give it what I call the ice cream beard. So don't draw these lines in. I am making an arrow only to show you where approximately I want this ice cream scoop beard, or like a gnome beard, you could call it, the beard to start. I don't think I got that even the way I'm looking at it. I think this is about across from there. Again, don't draw the arrows. I'm only drawing them to give you an idea where this next phase starts. All right, so the next thing you're gonna do, and I do this, your position of your hand on the pencil is very important. If you draw further back, it will help you to have light lines that you can erase. My lines are a little darker because I need you to see what I'm doing. I'm drawing my lines in a little more to make sure that they're dark enough for you to see. All right, so again, holding your pencil back here minimizes the pressure so that you can draw very light. Very lightly, make jagged edges going in and out randomly. And that is going to be these little jagged edges are that ripple of ice cream that happens when you scoop an ice cream. So I'm going to erase the arrows out that you should not have drawn. Those were just so you would know approximately where. And it's about, I would say, halfway. You can see that I got higher on one side than the other. So I am going to erase and lower that so it looks more even. Now, if you get a spot that you don't like, also erase out the ice cream cone. You don't need the line from the ice cream cone itself. But if you get a spot you don't like, just erase it and redo it. It's that easy. It's just a random squiggly line. Super easy. I don't like this because it comes to a point, so I'm going to change that. I'm being a little picky. I like it when it's more rounded. All right, so the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is put some lines. I'm going to say approximately here. Don't draw it yet. I'm just marking the spot. Here, here, so it's not halfway, and here. These lines, I don't want them to look like straight lines like I just drew. Just a gentle wiggly line. It's just texture on the ice cream ball. I don't like that line on the end the way it came out, so I'm going to erase the end of that line and change it. If you don't like it, erase it and change it. All right, so to recap where you should be, do not let me walk around and put 4 fingers on the top or the bottom of your page and that I should be able to cover the top of the ice cream cone. I should be able to cover the bottom of the ice cream cone. If I can see it in between my 2 hands with 4 fingers at the top and bottom of your page, you did not follow directions. And I'm taking a point off. All right, next thing you should have after having the circle and the triangle, the ice cream, the little ice cream fringe on the ice cream ball that happens when it gets scooped. You should have what I call the ice cream beard or the gnome beard. The next thing that you should have are these 3 little squiggles. All right, so the next thing that we are going to add to this ice cream cone, if you've ever really looked at an ice cream cone, and if you've ever seen a waffle cone made, they have that batter that they wrap around a triangle mold in order to shape the cone. Well, you get that little jagged line where the cone overlaps. So we're gonna make that little jagged line. Now don't draw this line that I draw. I just wanna show you that the jagged line, when it wraps around, I would start your jagged line going down, over, and curve a little at the end. Now I'm gonna erase that because I don't want your line to be so straight. This is an organic ice cream cone. So the line is gonna be a little jagged. So we're gonna come down. We're gonna have this jagged line going over. I threw in a little point there. And then we're gonna curve this jagged line down. And that is where the waffle cone of your ice cream cone wraps on the mold. So you don't have, like for me, it looks to be about 1 inch up here. Less than 2 fingers, like maybe 1 finger. And again, you come down and you make this jagged little line where the ice cream cone wraps on the mold, right there. All right, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make the lines for the ice cream cone. Now, I like mine to be very symmetrical. And in the original drawing, it's not super symmetrical. One thing I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna start with the lines that go around the ice cream cone because it's like putting a gentle smile. And do it light, you can darken it more later. I'm doing it dark so you can see it. So I'm gonna add these lines, space them out. So I kind of get, now they're gonna look a little like rectangles because of what's called perspective. But they're really squares. All right, and on this side, since it does, when it wraps, it doesn't quite overlap and match, I'm gonna put those little circle lines at a little bit of an angle. And they honestly don't necessarily need to match up. Make sure that your spacing here and your spacing here match. Remember the lines, this line happens to match up, but the next one doesn't. And these two don't. That one kind of did, that's okay. This one didn't, and this doesn't match up with anything. Make sure it's a little bit curved. All right, now we got to do the cross lines. Now, normally I like to turn my book to make it easier for me to, and I think I will do that. It just makes it easier for me to make the cross lines if I have my book turned. All right, so let's see where I want to start with these cross lines. I don't know if I want to go straight down along following the edge of that, or if I want to come over here and go across that way. I think I'm going to make my first cross lines kind of line up with the edge of this. Again, you are doing this really light. I have to do it darker so you can see what I'm doing. And you can see I kind of messed up that getting that line completely parallel to this one. So I just erased and redrew. Make sure your lines are even. That one's too close. It's too small of a space. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing down here. I like using the edge of this ice cream cone to get that line, the straight line, which happened to match up with that line, which is okay. All right. So to recap, your picture, if I come around and put 4 fingers down, I should be able to cover the top and the bottom. You see it's not much on the bottom, just the tail end down there and part of the top of the cone. I should not be able to put 4 fingers on the top and bottom of your notebook, your sketchbook, and see it tiny in the middle. 3 is the most that I'll let it be because it needs to be big enough for us to add the future details in. So you know that if I come around with a 4-finger measurement and you're too small, you're gonna have to redraw it. And this video will be on Schoology so that I can put you on a laptop or a tablet and you can watch the video again. So you have your circle, your triangle, your fringy little jagged line, kind of scalloping around, that I call the ice cream beard or the gnome beard. You have 3 little details that show some of the detail of the ice cream scoop. We've erased out the cone here and here. I should not see a line to the cone. We have put in the line where the ice cream cone wraps on the mold. And we have drawn in the circular lines going across from the top towards the bottom and doing the same thing at a different direction on the side piece. And lastly, for today's portion of this drawing, we put the lines going vertical, up and down. I lined mine up with the edge of the ice cream cone this way, making sure they were all fairly even in consistency. And then doing the same thing, going perpendicular. I should see a lot of plus signs. The lines are going perpendicular through the curved lines in the bottom half of the cone underneath that little wrap line. All right, so this is a very good time for you to check your work and make sure that all those things that I mentioned are apparent in your drawing. And we will continue with this again tomorrow.